Oh, there you are. Be with you in a second. This tray is full of dice, colourful polyhedral dice, hundreds of them. And the candy dispenser has been repurposed to contain thousands of dice.
Hello, I'm Nia.
A bird-like woman sits on a throne of tools with emerald light shining through her hair.
Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Melius.
She taps on her headphones.
So what kind of die are you looking for?
Could this be the malicious entity? Perhaps it's wise to go along with this masquerade for now. She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the lynching.
Hold on, what do you mean by milieu?
Yes, a Milieu is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these.
She pats the headphones on the table.
Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking.
You must have me confused with someone else. I haven't knocked on your window.
Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind?
Why are you asking me about dice?
I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
Not really.
Role-playing games? You know the one made by Fortress Accident. Does that count?
Squint your eyes mysteriously. Maybe. I'm not really sure why I'm here, honestly.
How strange. Well, if you're interested, my rate is 10 real per set. Unless you want something really unusual.
I don't.
Take a look around and see if there's any particular stone you want to use.
The walls around here are covered with rows of precious stones and minerals.
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room, growing out of the shells like stalagmites. No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide. Ask what you need.
What do you know about the man who was lynched behind the whirling in rags?
Nothing really. I didn't know him.
Who cares about the dead body? We might be dealing with a malignant entity here. The lieutenant looks at his notebook, then the woman under the large window.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window.
What do you mean by the daily ruckus?
Well, there's always something going on in the whirling's backyard.
She stops to try and come up with an example.
During daytime, there are usually those kids. And lately, I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike.
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it, sire.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid.
And you never took your eyes off the work to look out for out of the window?
I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness.
Makes sense.
It's light here, but dark in the yard at night.
It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone.
Do you often work Sunday nights?
It's an odd profession, making dice for people. But I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
I see. Thank you for your answers.
She nods.
Anything else, officer?
Where are we, anyway? What is this place?
We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know.
She looks at the ruddy bricks that make up the walls. Even though they've been repainted, there are still signs of coal-black soot here or there.
But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
Plaisance was right. There's an entity living in the chimney. You should ask her about the curse.
Creative.
The lieutenant looks around the spacious room, its ceiling fading into the shadows above. I've heard this place is cursed. Did you know that people call it a doomed commercial area?
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true.
Plaisance is the one who sent me. She's convinced that the place is swarming with malicious energies.
Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energies spared her somehow?
Actually, the bookstore isn't doing that well. There are hardly any customers, and she has to exploit her own daughter to keep the company going.
Oh, right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the whirling in rags? Some people say it's part of the building complex.
No, the whirling isn't doing well either. Its waiters just took off and customers have trouble paying bills.
And then there is me.
She sighs, looking at her messy work table. All kinds of tools lie there, scattered from knives to carving files to wire cutters.
I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea, yet somehow I've survived despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it?
Maybe it's just because she's so talented that she's been able to woo the curse.
I'll be the first to admit there are many inconsistencies in this so-called curse.
I was just about to ask, what do you think? Do you think the curse is real?
Time has come to face the source. Fear not, for the forces of the universe are supporting you in this psychic quest.
Still might be you. I'm starting to see that there is no curse, only business decisions and natural market fluctuations.
Exactly. Truth is always so disappointingly mundane and boring. But I'm glad we got this sorted out. Anything else I can help you with today?
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough and truthful, as far as we can see.
Do you know what happened to other tenants? Everyone else is gone.
More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific?
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to
Yeah.
mind.
There used to be a hair salon here, right?
Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad.
Yeah, what's wrong with a bit of experimenting?
I guess it just wasn't the time yet.
She tucks a strand of hair under the headscarf. What's happened to the gym?
It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemitep's boxing club. A community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime.
Maybe that's what Kuno needs, a community-centric boxing club.
Kuno? Who's Kuno?
Indeed, who is Kuno? Your guess is as good as mine.
Oh, you mean the kid with the sailor's mouth? Yes, I've heard him yelling profanities in the backyard.
She looks out of the window, her face reflecting back in the dark.
I think it would take more than a gym to help that kid.
Certainly. And who is Artemitep?
A kind man, from Zemsk. I heard he had some trouble with the law when he was younger, and that's why he wanted to start the gym, as his way of giving back.
Judging from the kids I've met so far, it didn't really work, did it?
It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
It's not really full of that. No one would store their drugs like that.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since.
What's up with the broken windows?
Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff medias. Who would have guessed?
What's the snuff milieu?
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own.
Cool, very cool about the debris, but what's a snuff milieu?
It's a Sub Rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good money to get off on it.
Nothing changes in her tone as she says that, as if it's just another piece of information to lay out for the world.
Don't worry, the ICP has a separate division that deals exclusively with unlicensed sub-roses. This isn't our problem.
Good luck with that. It's not easy catching those perpetrators.
Then she lets the thought go. Did someone here make stuffed animals? I saw mounts lying around.
You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? No, he mostly just did drugs.
Alright.
Anything else?
I found creepy mannequins.
There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came.
Insect right activists? What in the name of?
The atelier produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin supplier, which of course caused the price to skyrocket. And, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection.
My thoughts here don't really... I know this is basically a positive, neutral, and negative, but my thoughts don't really fit either of those. There's somewhere between positive and neutral, but... Sure, whatever.
Really? Anyway.
What's with the rotor blades and skis?
They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money.
She rests her chin on her hand with an impish smile.
Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tiumotiri or Hashtkor or wherever he is.
Interesting. What do these transmissions say?
The usual, I imagine. That he's been thinking up all kinds of new business plans and can't wait to get started on them just as soon as he returns.
Her smile widens before she sees the lieutenant's face behind you.
Men like that are a curse.
The lieutenant is stern.
Sure, but Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no idea why those skis and blades are still lying around in the house. Not much use now, I guess.
They were just props. Why return them?
I found a strange machine.
Fortress Accident, the radio game studio.
She closes her eyes as some remnant of a memory lights up her face.
They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wirral.
That's understandable. Fantasies are serious things. The mind is the drawing board of history.
They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seem to be chronically liberal with their schedules.
What do you mean, liberal? What happened?
The usual. They ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time.
What went wrong?
Well, I did hear them talking at times.
She looks at the hallway, as if she can still hear them chit-chat behind her curtains on a cigarette break.
They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest.
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
From what I've seen so far, the project did look quite impressive.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on.
Of course.
In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic and to show up to work on time.
You're right, they should have just tried harder. They had everything needed to succeed.
Still, not everyone is going to make it. That's the nature of the game.
The dice is black and filled with little silvery flakes. like snowfall.
Anything else?
There was a terrifying taxidermied bear in the cellar.
Oh boy, the fabled Revachol ICT. You're in for a treat here.
She smiles and leans closer, hands on her knees, like a stand-up comedian ready to tell a story.
The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas.
Do I really want to?
Indeed. What were the other ideas?
Alright, what about the other ideas?
There was really just one. And it involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man the booth. And by man the booth, I mean slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Fritter does the same thing.
Yeah. I know a girl just like that. Works in Fritz as a cashier and just not particularly friendly.
Employing silky teenage girls is a widespread practice, yes. Unfortunately, they always come in packs. I'm talking about acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the shop. At least that's what happened with Revachol ICT. And they already had the bear.
She closes her eyes as if remembering something painful. What about the bear?
The bear.
She repeats, pressing thumbs into her temples like trying to suppress a headache. Didn't work out?
Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted. Eventually, Revachol ICT lost the price war to its rival, Class A 5000. Class A 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges.
Market doing its job. I killed the bear.
You did what?
She rolls her swivel chair an inch closer to you, unsure whether she heard you right. I had to kill the bear to become the bear.
I can see.
She nods, eyeing you up and down.
The taxidermist who made it said it was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants. He called it Megatherian.
Sounds cool.
What's a vision beast?
It's an imaginary beast that guides you through life by telling you to do more drugs, mostly.
I don't do drugs.
Very good. You shouldn't do them. You're a police officer after all.
I'm a good police officer.
Anyway, now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire.
She seems almost sad finishing the story.
Anything else? Another failed business, perhaps? I've been here for a long time.
I found the building's intercom, but it's not working.
Oh, right. I hope you didn't try to ring me.
I definitely did.
I think none of those doorbells work, including mine. I'm still in the middle of connecting the wires. Sorry about the confusion.
The doorbell with the empty name card must belong to her then.
A strange thing happened when I tried calling a company named Slipstream SCA. Someone answered.
It can't be true. They don't work here anymore. They've been gone for years. Are you sure it was Slipstream SCA? Was it a woman? Maybe it was Plaisance from the bookstore.
She said she was from Tricentennial Electrics.
Tricentennial Electrics?
There's a moment before she recognizes the name.
It used to be a major electric company 100 years ago. Are you sure it wasn't just some kids playing a prank on you?
No, it was something else. It was eerie. It was too real to be just a prank. Either we're dealing with a professional actress, or...
It may have been some sort of rare electrical anomaly.
A prank is more likely, no? Oh, the kids these days. We were just one of them, and now they're terrorizing us. No solidarity.
So tell me that the doorbell with the empty name card was yours?
That's right. I haven't even written my name there. As I said, it's quite useless right now. It doesn't work yet.
I was wondering about the Whirling in Rags. Is that part of the same building complex?
You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the East Delta Commerce Center project. That explains why you can call the whirling from the intercom. albeit I doubt that anyone responds.
If the whirling is part of the same building, then it's part of the Doom commercial area. The darkness of this place is there, too.
I saw a name, East Delta Pinball, on the doorbell.
Right, it used to be a gaming arcade. This is an ancient failure, before my time. I'm not surprised, however. My advice, don't base your business on a fad. Hypnotism, floriography, trick track, especially pinball.
Agreed. Pinball is the worst.
I have a few more questions about the building.
Sure, I'm listening.
Actually, I had other questions.
Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else?
How did you become a dice maker?
How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dice out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there.
Do you like role-playing games yourself?
Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers? They're nice people.
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend on novelty items.
Why hasn't her business failed?
You feel nothing. If anything, it's uncomfortably warm in here.
Leave it at that.
She has begun to idly clean one of her carving tools with a dirty kerchief. The tool's sharp edge shining in the light of her desk lamp.
All right. Well, that's probably part of her. We'll go back downstairs then, and head up. I don't like the noises. Head up the stairs the other way. Maybe we'll find that password somewhere after all, although I have a suspicion that that staircase is just going to lead, I don't know, back outside somewhere in the backyard. I've looked at everything down here. Have we been? Yes, we have been down here. Only the stairs up here are left. Yeah, selling bottles at Fritz isn't really the best money-making method if you owe like 100-something real. Yep. Oh, it leads out here. Okay. Got one skill point that we could use if we want to. Do we want to? Potentially. What does volition do again? Keep your morale up. Yeah, probably good. Keeping our morale up. I'll do one more just to reach the maximum there with the next skill point. We've still got a lot of tasks here. What is the race enigma? Oh, yes. Currently in the process of doing that. Report back to Plaisance about your findings. Let's do that, shall we? Well, the question is she still... Oh, wait. Is she still awake? It takes willpower to even read the author's name. Jan Kaus from Igaunia. Why does it take willpower to read that name? It's locked, isn't it? Alright. Let me have a look at the map. The Hanged Man. I can try that again, but it's probably not going to be great. Joyce. Volition medium. Yeah, it is a volition check. If I can try that again, that would be good. Sure. Let's do that. So we don't really have a place to go to sleep in anyway. Might as well. Is she still here is the question, or did she leave? Because it's late at night. I mean the boats? Ah, she is here.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Can I have some money?
Voila! You're doing it.
Nice. Help me, I'm poor. I need money to keep living.
Ah, yes, of course. I'm sad to hear that. How much do you need?
She's surprisingly nonchalant about this. If anything, your finally asking it has relieved some of the tension.
I need 1 billion. I need 130 real. Nothing more, honestly.
That's a good sum. Not too small, not fantastically large.
She reaches into her raincoat and pulls out a zip bag. In it, you see paper notes arranged like black gills.
She removes a few notes and hands them to you. The paper is cold and oily to the touch.
So, I hope I didn't just bribe you, officer. It may not be technically illegal under the Emergency Act, but still.
You bribed me, alright? I'm your little peon now. I'm still getting my head around this whole money concept. You were just helping me out.
You're right, man, that donations are permitted under the Emergency Act, unseemly as it may be, as long as they're properly logged with the precinct.
Which he most certainly will do. Now, how else can I help the RCM today, besides supplementing its salaries?
Yes.
More lessons in basic reality?
Yes, actually.
My favourite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything.
Oh, very high. What is... Reach for something fundamental.
What is all of this? The scent, the sound, the air.
What world is this?
What world? The only one, I suppose. The world of matter. And its pale antipode.
The camera of her mind glides over the surface of the water.
What do you see?
Great bodies of water. Forest-covered surfaces. Clusters of light where the cities lie. You've seen the montage. We all have. This world is enough.
She concludes.
There is a term of endearment they coined for it, in the DeLorean century, when humanity was high on this world, discovering more and more of it, these archipelagos included.
What is it?
Elysium.
Elysium. The world needs a term of endearment.
It does. There are those who would call it hell.
What is hell?
A term of hatred that originates, like many such things, with the Mesk petro-fascists.
Got a clear picture. Let's proceed to another term.
Let's. I am, after all, bourgeois and female. Hardly the perfect ambassador for the world.
What is this? Spread your hands.
A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions?
I keep guessing.
Some sort of krill hunter? No, wait. You're an ancient ruin. A symbol of hubris and decay. Half submerged in some salty sea.
What? Really?
Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games.
I meant, what is this place here?
Ah. This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislaine, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or two.
She looks around. What is Rue de Saint-Ghislaine 33A?
A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux. But 33A and 33B are not nouveaux. They're old.
She looks up at the crumbling facade.
This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course.
Who lived in them?
Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off. Splat, splat.
From a dilapidated balcony, Cindy the Skull gives Joyce the evil eye, her red paintbrush held to her throat.
Wonderful.
What is? Think of something close to you.
6 kilometers southwest, in the Valley of Dogs, Junior Officer Chad Tilbrook takes aim at a rabid black dog licking its wounds in the grass. To his left, his partner, Emil Mullins, whispers, You heard what happened to Tequila Sunset in Martinez? Yes, he lost his mind. Tilbrook answers, fingers on the trigger. Don't worry, ML. He pulls it out slowly. Slowly now. He'll find it again. We always do.
What am I?
You? You're an officer of the RCM.
She says energetically. This abbreviation, what does it stand for?
It stands for Revachol Citizens Militia.
Good. And what is the Revachol Citizens Militia?
Nothing more nor less than the de facto law enforcement body of post-revolutionary Revachol, Detective.
Yes, we are the Revachol Citizens Militia.
He's being sarcastic.
Are we?
We are.
You said de facto.
Yes, that means not de jure. The RCM acts in what is poetically called the twilight of international law, both at the behest of the coalition government and to its chagrin.
What do you mean?
The RCM's responsibilities are defined by the Emergency, Wayfarer and Aliments Acts, 3 pieces of legislation keeping the city in a, let's be honest, laissez-faire stasis to the benefit of foreign capital.
All 3 are good to know when we are out policing.
So I'm basically a fowl to foreign interests.
There's nothing basic about your role, Detective. It's true that the RCM keeps everything the way our seemingly permanent, provisional rulers like it.
She leans in.
Yet, on the other hand, I know these people. I deal with them daily. Let me tell you, dear, they are not fans of you.
Why?
The post-revolutionary decade was a disaster for the coalition government. Revachol in the 20s was hell, especially on the west side of the river. Gang warfare, a botched privatization scheme, a nuclear pile meltdown. They called it the international zone because no nation wanted to claim responsibility. The RCM restored peace where the coalition failed, a true blue citizens' initiative. They will never forgive you.
That's somewhat of an exaggeration. In reality, ours is a mutually beneficial arrangement. Revacholians get to keep the peace in Revachol, and the coalition doesn't have to worry about it. Anyway, sorry to intrude. Please continue.
Yes, Lieutenant. Permit me to conclude with this. Who you are, to me, is the police. The only legitimate law enforcement authority in Revachol.
Thank you, madam.
And if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the basic terms of reality, well, I'm here to help.
She bows and smiles. What is that?
The girl in the old lady rags
Yes.
looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture.
Infraculture?
Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture.
I understand everything. Make it more complicated somehow.
I can't. That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital end up reinforcing it instead. All right. What next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture.
I think I may be part of an infraculture.
And what would that be?
I don't know, I just feel it.
Ah, yes. That is what counts, I suppose. For my part, I was more of a new girl.
The new?
The new. A cultural era. And the name of the decade it ravished, the 30s. It came out of post-revolutionary Revachol. It was ultra-liberal. It involved lots of partying, as you might imagine, and champagne-colored everything. By the looks of it, that would have been when you came of age. Now,
She raises her eyebrow at you. Sounds fun, I can't remember a single thing.
Wasn't it Guillaume le Million who said, if you can remember the new, you weren't there?
For some reason, your mind is a veritable repository of Guillaume le Million lyrics, trivia, and B-sides. But the time to explore this is when you're alone, facing a mirror perhaps. Right now, it would derail the reality lowdown.
Yeah, that's all for now.
Glad to have been of assistance.
Advanced race theory.